following is a GNC podcast production. Welcome to Geek Addicts, a pop culture podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Geek Addicts, the pop culture podcast, where we take a look at various forms of pop culture media over the years. I am Bill, and this is Matt. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am tired, and it's been a week.
It sure has, but it's a long weekend, so that's something. That's something to be
It
happy
is.
about.
It is a long
For
weekend.
sure.
It's supposed to be nice too for once, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. I think down here, I keep seeing different things. It keeps saying like it could be anywhere from low 70s to like low to mid 80s. I have no idea what it's actually going to be.
Yeah, it changes on a dime. For us, it's looking like it's going to be 70, like high 70s, low 80s.
I'm into that.
Um,
I'm into that.
Tomorrow's
We're
supposed to
not
be
that
really
far from
nice.
you, so
Yeah. Yeah, tomorrow's
um,
supposed to be like really nice, apparently.
that's good. That's good. So this episode will be coming out a couple weeks after the fact, but this week we released one of the old pilot episodes.
Yes, we did.
And I realized as I was listening to it that was actually the third one we had done that
Yeah.
night, and I was pretty loose by that point. Well, I was drinking these really strong cocktail drinks that night, and like if you listen to them in the order we recorded them, you could hear me getting progressively drunker. But since y'all just got thrown in at episode 3, I was just already there.
Yeah. I'm going to be releasing them pretty much out of order. So once I haven't decided which the next one I'm going to throw up or when it's going to go up, but yeah, expect to see those, and you can see how the show kind of got thrown together.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was a lot more energetic on that episode than I think I've been on any episode of Geek Addicts.
Yeah. Well, I think the most energetic one we did was the final one, the one that was kind of a separate recording we did later on. I won't spoil it, but it's a topic we've technically already done for Geek Addicts.
Yeah. Um,
Uh,
yeah. Aside from that, also while I was listening to it, I noticed that we brought up Peter Molyneux, and then 3DO came up the next day, and you guys also brought up Peter Molyneux. So I'm really hoping that the GNC that comes out this week will also bring him up. Just have a threefer.
well, unfortunately, the GNC episodes have been recorded months in advance, well, weeks in advance. So I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but we talked. Well, it'll already be out by the time this comes out. It was an episode on the Pokemon anime because it was supposed to be in kind of a tribute to the actress from Misty who had passed away around the time we recorded it.
Gotcha. You guys doing a lot of Pokemon episodes lately, huh?
Yeah, that was a bit of a thing that happened. We are probably going to take a break for a little bit.
I gotcha.
We weren't really supposed to do two.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say we weren't really supposed to do 2 in a row. This one kind of just came up because the topic that we did the following week we weren't ready to do yet. But yeah, we got some projects in the works. Yeah,
I gotcha.
a lot.
It's kind of a similar thing of how we did a Dragon Ball episode that immediately did like a whole month on Toriyama.
Yeah, kind of impromptu, just because of obvious reasons.
Yeah, I gotcha.
This was also Alex. We needed a topic, and trying to find a topic with Alex sometimes is a struggle. So
I get that. Yeah, I feel that way too because there's been like friends and family and stuff that I would like to have on, and I know me and Thrak were talking on the Discord recently about having like a big GNC group episode at some point. And I was telling him, like, I think the hardest part would be finding a topic that all four of us can talk about. Like,
Yeah, Alex is kind of the wild card there because she has very specific interests. Um, yeah, I mean, someday. I mean, GNC is coming up on its 200th episode. Like, we're in the countdown. We got 10 more episodes until 200. And I still don't
wild.
know 100% what we're gonna do for that.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to try and brainstorm on that. I mean, you have a little bit of time, so.
Yeah, I have ideas, but at the moment they're all just ideas.
I guess. So with all the Pokemon episodes, are you planning on playing the game club for September?
I'd like to, but I have, like most game clubs, I have no idea if I'll have the time. Sadly.
Well, at least that one will be convenient because it's already on your Switch automatically, right? So.
I mean, I have it. It's more just one of those things where it's like, I don't, I don't know when I'll have the time.
Yeah, I feel you.
I barely have time to play like games. I just casually, not let alone ones with a deadline.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'll
Well,
think about it.
this one I feel like would be easier for me to do because I've played it before and quite a bit actually back in the day. So, and honestly, not that long ago I played the remake. So I mean, it's kind of all like I know the courses to take to play this one. So I think it'll be a little bit easier for me to get through it in time.
Yeah,
I failed hard with Grim Fandango.
See, my thing is I don't like to commit to any of the game club like games just because I never know if I'll have the time to play them unless it's like a game that I know I can like knock out like in a minute or so. But I mean, it's the same with like it's the same with my blogs. I have like 3 blogs I'm writing over there, but I don't have any release dates because I just don't have time to write like ever because I'm always working on something else. I have way too many projects. That's kind of my problem right now.
I've been wanting to write another one, but there's just been a lot of shit going on. Oh, I didn't even tell you. Friggin' a couple days ago, I don't know if you heard it from like, pages or whatever that you still follow from this area, but um some lady like literally flipped her car right in front of her house the other day.
I saw Cindy had posted something on that.
Yeah, it was fucking wild.
Everyone all right or
To my knowledge, she's fine. But Cindy was real freaked out about it because she was the first person on the scene. She watched it happen, like literally right in front of our house. It was fucking crazy.
How fast was she going? I mean,
too fast.
I
mean, all the listeners know. You can all hear.
Yeah, it kind of terrifies me how fast some people drive on your street, especially because the the roundabout's right there. Like they have to brake pretty quick.
Well, that's why people use it to pick up speed rather than slow down. So
yeah, kind of wish they put the lights back there, but
yeah, just like a regular stoplight would be nice.
Apparently, from what my mom told me, it was cheaper to put the roundabout in than it was to put new lights. So
that figures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that must have
like
been
the only state that still uses roundabouts.
Maybe. I mean, no, there is a few in Connecticut. It's a New England thing though, definitely. I mean, at least we know how to use them up here. Some people don't.
Yeah, I swear to God, all these things that I mentioned on the podcast and privately with you, Bill, all these things actually happen. It's fucking wild how much of this shit just happens right in front of us or to us. Like,
I had a guy straight up just try to run me off the road yesterday. Like he just started coming into my lane, and I'm like blaring the horn. He just kept coming. I was like, okay, great.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah,
wild.
Yeah, people kind of suck, but that's life.
This is true.
So kind of unrelated, but when me and Thrak record 3DO, we usually have like there'll be at least an hour long like after show that we don't record, but we just shoot the shit about random stuff.
Yeah.
We somehow like we ended up getting into a fucking conversation about Weird Al Yankovic, and like I've been on a fucking Weird Al binge for like 2 days now.
That's make it funny.
Oh man, so many fucking iconic songs.
Wasn't it like? Wasn't he was in? Is it Scott Pilgrim that he's in the anime?
Yeah, he's the narrator for the episode about the documentary at the film set.
That's fucking wild.
He's the narrator for that.
That is so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, it's
geez.
just it's funny how many of his parodies, like I'll hear the song playing and I just immediately think of the Weird Al like Thrak was playing he was streaming his Genesis stream last night and he was playing Michael Jackson's Moonwalker and
Mhm.
when Beat It was playing, I'm just sitting in the background going like just eat it. Just eat it. Because it just like gets in your head like that and you just can't it's like whenever I think of Gangster's Paradise, I immediately think of Amish Paradise.
That happens to me with like all the like parody songs that I hear. It's just it just gets rooted in my brain. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, like I mean, not that I was a huge fan anyway, but it kind of ruined all Lady Gaga songs for me because he did so many parodies on Lady Gaga.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like whenever I hear Riding, like you're never gonna hear the song Riding without hearing White and Dirty.
Oh yeah, I literally that's the song I sing whenever Bride and Dirty comes on.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. That White and Nerdy is so like iconic now that people like refer to Riding as Riding Dirty, despite it actually just being called Riding.
Hmm.
Kind
It's
of
too
sad
funny.
he ended up being just a one hit wonder, but
Yeah, it happens a lot.
yeah.
Oh
Oh
well.
man. I still think my favorite part of the music video for that song is him vandalizing Atlantic Records Wikipedia page because they denied him Atlantic Records famously he was going to do a parody of James Blunt's song You're Beautiful as
Mhm.
You're Pitiful. But Atlantic Records said no because they were afraid he would become a one hit wonder, which he did anyways. But yeah, so like Al in the video for the line that says I edit Wikipedia, it shows him he's editing the Atlantic Records Wikipedia page just and he's just writing in giant bold letters "You suck." It actually led to something that still persists to this day. People will constantly try to vandalize Atlantic Records Wikipedia page with "You suck" to the point where it's, I guess, a semi-protected page now.
You know what's funny? That kind of reminds me. Last night, Sydney and I were just kind of hanging out, having a snack before we went to bed. We were like, "Oh, let's just throw on something. Let's just throw on something like casual, funny, whatever." And I was like, "Oh yeah, let's watch an episode of Kaguya-sama because she's towards the end of season 2 right now."
Oh, nice.
And of course, the episode that came on was the one where we get the background on Ishigami.
Oh, so it's the sad episode, not
Yeah,
the
it was a
fun
sad
one.
episode. It's just like, what the fuck? It's like I didn't want to feel. I wanted to laugh.
Yeah, I still love the narrator like towards like the end of season 3 where he's all like, "Oh my god, they're finally gonna do it. They're gonna confess," and it's like, no, nobody
Yep.
wins.
I think that's the next episode, and I'm looking forward to it. Oh
Yeah,
my god! And I also Cindy and I the other day watched the first couple episodes of Ghost Stories. That was something.
I've heard very good things about that one. I'm actually the final volume of the Bardo anime just came out, so I have the full thing now. I'm like sitting here thinking like I should probably finish that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I got halfway through it and then I just stopped because that show is like the epitome of up and down.
Well, see, I at least would have watched all the episodes that cover the stuff I've read in the manga, uh, but I can't download those episodes on Hulu for some reason on my phone.
hmm,
And like that's kind of how I watch a lot of the shows that I catch up on. It's the same reason I'm kind of at a standstill with Bleach right now is because I can't do it with that one either. So
hmm. Yeah, I
it's just a
figure
bummer.
like Bardo's been like this ongoing thing I've been watching since it came out, and I'm like I should really finish this now that it's like all of it's dubbed and it's here because it's been sitting on my my Annie list tracking page for so long at this point.
Yeah, there's better shows you can watch.
Yeah, but I want to see that I want to clear out some of the ones that I started and never finished.
That's fair. That's
Because
fair.
I still gotta finish Hunter x Hunter too. I never finished that one.
You didn't get very far on that one, did you?
No, we did. So that was back when me and Alex only did. So initially, when we were doing anime swaps, we didn't do full series. We did either movies or we watched like the first like 5 episodes or so of a show.
Yeah.
Because I know for that one it was Hunter x Hunter and Comey of all things. Um, yeah, we got 5 episodes in. I liked what I watched, but I just haven't ever had the time to get back to it.
It gets pretty fun. It gets pretty fun, definitely. I wish there was more of it, but what are you gonna do?
It's like Black Clover. It just kind of ends, and you're like, damn.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see. We might end up getting more. Who knows? I don't know. I'm kind of in a weird place right now where like once I finish catching up with One Piece, like I kind of feel like I want to rewatch some of the shows that I watched a long time ago. Like
Mm.
I couldn't tell you the last time I watched like Foolie Cooley.
I have the Blu-ray for that. I really gotta sit down and watch it at some point.
And I never watched like the follow-up that came out a few years ago. So I was thinking about like once I catch up with One Piece, I'll rewatch that and watch the follow-up. And I also
See,
really want to rewatch Berserk because it's been a very, very long time.
see, I have a ton of like 13 episode like or 26ers that I have like the Blu-ray sets for. I really just want to knock a bunch of those out because
Mhm.
I feel like those are so much easier to like get through than full series. But
Oh yeah, you can get through those in like an afternoon.
yeah, a lot of them. And I'm 3 day weekend. Family. My Alex and my mom are going to New York for the day tomorrow, so I'm literally going to have nothing to do. Plus, I'm kind of financially strapped for a bit because of conventions and bills and whatnot. So I might chill. I also got manga to read though,
Mhm.
because the new Chainsaw Man and Sakamoto Days volumes came out, and I want to keep up with those.
You should totally watch Bakano. Who said that?
I I have the DVD like sitting on my shelf. I just need to sit. I was gonna do it last week,
Mhm.
but what happened? Oh yeah, like for some reason on Monday when I was gonna do it, I was just super tired and I fell asleep on the couch and slept like most of the day.
Oh, I was wicked excited. But so I don't know if you knew that Yen Press has been putting out audiobooks for a lot of their light novel stuff. They
I
finally started releasing official audiobooks for Bakano, and I'm so excited about it.
I gotta look into that because if they have a an audiobook for My Happy Marriage, the light novel, I actually want to read that or listen to that because I just don't have time to read.
They might,
It's
honestly. I'm not sure.
I'll have to look into that because all of the My Happy Marriage light novels, and I'm like that. It sounds like season 2 is like still a while away, and I really want to know what happens next.
So I've been catching up on the Sword Art Online audiobooks. Um, which at first I was really excited about because they're read by Bryce Papenbrook and Jeremy Lee,
Mm.
which those are like the main two of that show. Uh I quickly discovered that Bryce Papenbrook does not know how to do voices for audiobooks. He's really, really bad.
Yeah,
like he's great when he's like playing a character in a show. Like I love him as a voice actor in like animes and stuff, but like holy shit, his audiobook voices are bad. They sound like a fucking muppet.
see, Bryce is like a very specific voice actor. I swear, like because like for years he was like pigeonholed into like he played just like the young like boy like teen boy characters, and like he was stuck in that forever. And then of course he's now like famous because he played Aaron Yeager in Attack on Titan.
Hmm.
But see when ironically like the somewhat relevant considering recent Nintendo Direct news, but the role I always remember Bryce Papenbrook from is he played the character Asbel from the game Tales of Graces, which is getting a port to Nintendo Switch pretty soon, which I am very excited for because that's my second favorite Tales game. But yeah, he plays the main character of that game, and I that's kind of where I've always remembered his voice from. And so whenever I hear it, I'm always like, "Hey, it's that guy."
Hmm.
And then he's fucking Aaron Yeager, and everybody knows him. So I'm like, he made it big in the world.
Yeah. But back to your original thing. I'm not 100% sure if My Happy Marriage is on there, but I'm fairly certain Shield Hero is on there. I know you were into that for a while.
Shield Hero fell off really hard. For anyone who saw
Fair.
our top 25 list.
Yeah. Trying to think. I know they've been putting out a bunch of them. I just can't remember all of them. I don't remember if Slime is on there or not. I
So
feel like it might be.
Slime's the light novel, I believe, for Slime is by Kandasha, so I'm not sure.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So, by the way, Slime season 3. Chef's kiss. But,
it's out?
Well, it's not fully dubbed yet, but like half of it's dubbed at this point. So I've been watching it weekly whenever actually I'm going to watch that after we're done here. But
fair enough. I'll just wait till it's all out and then I'll watch it all.
It's a long one. It's like 24 episodes, I think. Did we talk about last? Did we talk last week about how Jujutsu Kaisen's like ending very soon?
Yeah, we were talking about how like all these, all like the current gen like main shows are ending.
Okay, like the manga from like the current generation. Like I feel like our generation's mangas have outlived the current generation's mangas.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like Dragon Ball is still coming out. Technically Naruto is still coming out. Bleach is still coming out. One Piece is still coming out. Like
hell, even like Inuyasha got Yashahime, which is still has a manga technically going right now.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild that. I mean, I understand because I mean all these older shows like they were kind of made to be these big shows that just go on forever. And I feel like the new shows are made specifically to have clear endpoints that don't take decades to get to.
What's funny though is like everyone's saying with Jujutsu Kaisen, like 5 more chapters, there's still so much fucking shit that he hasn't explained. It's like, how's he gonna cram that all into 5 chapters?
Yeah, who knows? Well, maybe it's one of those things where he says Jujutsu Kaisen's ending, but really there's going to be a Jujutsu Kaisen 2.
That would be a rug pull.
Jujutsu Kaisen ship it in.
Yeah, the final act.
Yep.
Next generation.
So I mean, could happen. We don't know. We won't know until then. But
it's funny how like in the time since like Jujutsu Kaisen's been and like all these new ones have been around, like the Naruto sequel series has already gone by and finished. The Dragon Ball sequel series has already gone by and finished. All these funny things.
Yeah. Bleach is still ongoing. I think I don't know how many parts Thousand Year Blood War is going to have, but I think they're on their 3rd part now.
Yeah, it sounds like too. Like a lot of the ongoing mangas that are left are getting close to endgame too. Because I know Black Clover is close because I think the writer's having health issues, so he's trying to wrap it up.
Makes sense.
Honestly, the only new shonen that's still going and like seems to be like super strong. Well, there's 2 of them, but like I'd say the current like modern ones right now are like Chainsaw Man and Spy Family.
Yeah.
Both of which are like probably the most fresh like we've had in a long time.
Yeah, I'd say so. And for obviously different reasons, but
well, yeah, Spy Family is just a super unique concept, and then Chainsaw Man is way better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, Spy Family is very wholesome, and Chainsaw Man is not.
I mean, it's sometimes it's wholesome.
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't have its moments, but
poor Denji.
Bro cuts people in half with his head, so
it's so weird. Like the current, because I'm reading part 2 right now, and it's so weird that Denji's not the main character anymore, but he's still a prominent character at the same time.
Yeah, see, I keep hearing that he's not the main character anymore, and I don't know what that means. Like, he's just not the focus, or it's just kind of giving attention to other people, or is he just straight up been relegated to side character?
Well, no, he's still a main character, but the focus of part 2 is the part 2 revolves around a completely new protagonist.
Okay,
I won't spoil it just because I know you haven't read it yet, but yeah, it's
I'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, it's a completely different character, but Denji's still around.
I have this week. I've read a fair amount of Rurouni Kenshin. I got up to the last bit I read. I finished off the whole bit with Jine Udo, the guy with the eyes.
Oh yeah,
So
and
making
Karu
progress with that.
laying on the ground
Mhm.
doing
Making
Karu
progress
things.
on that. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Screaming Kenshin. You know how it goes.
yeah. It's more prominent in the '90s anime because that's all she seemed to be able to do.
Also, the thing that the eye guy wears is like literally the same thing Gambit wears. He kind of looks like a fucked up Gambit,
Kinda.
like a samurai. Like I always wondered what the fuck that was. I guess
I
it's
got
just a
like,
bodysuit.
yeah, I kind of got Mortal Kombat vibes from him too.
Yeah, he's like somewhere between Gambit and Raiden.
Raiden or Kung Lao, like with the spiky hat, like the razor blade hat.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, I think we've waffled on we've waffled for 26 minutes. We do have a topic for this episode. We're actually, speaking of manga, we're returning to our first manga retrospective we've done since we finished Pokemon for the time being. You want to explain our new series we're going to try doing?
Well, the basic idea is we're gonna kind of cycle through a few different manga series, starting with Dragon Ball Super.
Hmm.
I'm not 100% sure which ones we're gonna move to, um, like which specific ones are gonna be cycling through, but this one's definitely one of them because
Hmm.
to anyone who watched the Super anime and hasn't read the Super manga, there's a lot of differences between the two, which is it's interesting because with the original run of the manga and the anime, like there was, with the exception of filler, there wasn't really a whole lot of difference. There was very few things that were changed or added.
Hmm.
Um, but with Super is a really interesting situation because it started out with the manga going. The manga was originally supposed to be a promotional thing, kind of like how the Super Dragon Ball Heroes anime is for the game.
Hmm.
So it wasn't meant to be like its own like actual like fully realized manga with its own storylines and stuff the way it's become now.
Hmm.
So it started out originally kind of like cutting some stuff up, as we'll talk about once we start covering the stuff we read so far. But I think it was about mid Universe 6 because the manga came out first. But around mid Universe 6 arc, the anime overtook the manga, and the manga didn't overtake the anime until the anime had been done for about a year.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So this is my first time reading the Dragon Ball Super manga. This was Matt's read it before, probably a couple times. I'm guessing, right?
Especially these early volumes, yeah.
Yeah. So this was completely fresh for me. I will say I haven't watched the anime in probably a year or so, year or two. Although I've seen the Super anime 100% all the way through at least 3 times, so I have at least some. I've got pretty
Wow.
good memory of what happens.
Mhm.
Well, I watched it initially as it came out, then I rewatched it when all the DVD sets came out, and then me and Alex did a watch back when we were living in her apartment, like way back when.
Oh, that makes
Um,
sense.
and we had all the time to watch anime, but yeah, like I have a pretty good idea of what happens in the anime, like for the most part. So reading this, it was very fascinating to see the very subtle differences, especially early on.
Yeah. I mean, they get a lot more overt the further along you go.
I mean,
But
Goku Black is significantly different in a lot of ways.
yeah, for sure.
Like I noticed a
Um,
lot of things, and I was like, "Oh, wow, this is very different."
but then some things happen exactly the same. It's interesting.
Well, because wasn't it like so the manga is a bit of a fib. The so it's written by Toriyama to a degree, and drawn by Toritaru. But isn't it like basically like Toriyama basically gives an outline and Toritaru basically pieces it together from that?
Well, the joke among the fan base is that Toriyama wrote bullet points on a napkin, and that was basically his contribution to the story.
Yeah. like it says on the spine that it was written by Toriyama, but like I believe it's basically been confirmed that Tortaro technically puts it together.
For the most part. I mean, there was some little blurbs at the end of the volumes where it would show like where Toriyama would like kind of correct some of his drawings and stuff, which was
I
cool.
I did like that because like that is kind of cool, like how he would like show his original version and then show how Toriyama was like, no, this is how you do this.
Yeah. Kind of showing like his journey along, learning how to do it and stuff.
Because like before we get into the content, I did want to bring up like Toritaro's art is really, really good.
Yeah, it's definitely, and later once we get to the later arcs, you'll see it definitely evolves as it goes. Although there are a lot of people who, I've seen some side by side images before, and he might be a little guilty of tracing.
I mean, yeah, it happens with a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. Kenji Yamamoto was guilty of plagiarism too, and his shit was baller. So
you'd be amazed how many comic book artists trace. There's I won't name names, but there's a very specific comic artist who gets all of his like a lot of his art he traces from like real world magazine photos and porn. So
Jesus Christ.
Oh, if you see some of the women he draws, you'd be like, oh yeah, I know where this came from.
Mm-hmm.
I won't name names, but those who follow comic lore would probably know who I'm talking about.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but that's besides the point. I will say, like, his artwork, I like it. Like, it feels very Dragon Ball.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, yeah, I don't know if you want to just jump right into Battle of Gods.
The like 4 pages of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I was shocked how little they actually do of Battle of Gods.
It's half of the first volume is Battle of Gods. And then they leapfrog right over Frieza and then just kind of say, and there's like a little like excerpt when Universe 6 is starting. It's like, and Frieza showed up and they defeated him and he was gold and then they turned blue. And that,
yeah, like
that's
it
that
literally like nothing. I was like, wow.
Not even an image.
I was kind of, I had I had kind of a split feeling on this. Battle of Gods, I was a bit bummed, just because I love that movie. But at the same time, I'm so fucking tired of it at this point.
Yeah, which in that way, I do feel a little bit happier about the fact that they kind of just leapfrogged over it.
I was amazed though. Frieza, they just fucking like, yeah, that happened. And I was like, huh.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to go that far with that one, but I mean, hey, whatever. That's probably the only reason the manga had any sort of a lead on the anime at any point was because they skipped that whole thing.
Which is really funny to me because, like you said earlier, it was for promotion. It's like they're promoting something and they're just skipping over it, I guess.
I mean, to be fair, by the time the manga came out, the movie had already. In fact, the movie I think had only come out like a few months before that. So
true. To me, it's interesting because, like, I've said it in our Dragon Ball episode before in the past, but I've always been under the impression that like Battle of Gods, I think, was a better movie than the anime's adaptation of it. But I think the anime handled Resurrection F a lot better than the Resurrection F film did.
Yeah, I think some of the action scenes in the Resurrection F arc were pretty rough, but the like character stuff was a lot better.
Yeah, the actual progression, because they actually had time to flesh stuff out, not just like Frieza's back, fight, the end.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, with the Battle of God stuff, it's like literally we get we get that beginning part where Goku's farming and Goten drives up the cliff. And then we see Beerus having dinner on a planet, which I believe this happened differently in the anime, correct?
Yeah, it was kind of like similar, but not exact. That's why I believe like Toriyama made the point, and then like we got 2 very different interpretations of it.
Yeah, because I think in the anime, Beerus is just like, oh, this food was kind of too greasy, so I'm gonna blow up half your planet.
Yeah.
In the manga version here, instead of that, they try to poison Beerus, and Beerus is just like, yeah, you're all dead.
He's like, you stupid fucks.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, you really thought that was gonna work?
Yeah. I was kind of bummed though because we lost like great comedic moments like my tractor, like stuff like that. But
Yeah.
that's
I
fine.
did
It's
like. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say like the like those scenes I kind of miss, but at the same time they won't hit the same without like the voice acting. So I understand.
So I wanted to ask, how do you feel about like the little drawings that we get at the end of each chapter?
Oh, the little like sometimes they're like a gag or sometimes they're like a what if kind of thing.
Mm, yeah.
They're cute. I like them.
Yeah, I liked with the Battle of Gods one where at the end of one of the chapters it shows Vegeta in front of a like an aerobics show doing a bingo, like practicing the bingo
Yeah,
dance, and then at the end of the very next chapter, it's just him going, "I didn't get to do my dance."
yeah. I like the little jokes like that. They're cute.
Mm,
Um, I will say the writing wise, characters feel very much in character. I haven't. There wasn't any moments where I was like, eh.
yeah,
So
for sure. Um, so yeah, we pretty much leapfrog right over that because that was a whole lot of nothing.
yeah, like
Um,
very much.
and it sends us straight to Universe 6.
This one is weird to me how like it is both abridged, but it does cover the entire story at the same time as well.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that they didn't really like cover a whole lot with Frost because in the anime it made a big deal about how Frost was like actually like a space pirate kind of where he would like, hire underground people to destroy planets and then pretend like he's a good guy coming in and saving or whatever. They kind of didn't do any of that. They just made him cheat and that was what made him bad in the manga.
Yeah, they didn't really go super crazy into it. Um, I found the Frost fight kind of underwhelming in the manga. I think it's just because he was, like you said, he was more fleshed out in the anime.
Yeah, they definitely gave him more attention in the anime version.
I also
Uh,
noticed they 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 didn't make the gag about how like we shows up and he's like these bleachers are awful boring and he redoes them.
mhm.
Um, in this one they're just the standard boring bleachers for the entire fight.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of
Also,
skip over a lot of those like little character moments, which is a little bit of a bummer, but
I'm kind of brain farting. Is Krillin just bald in the manga or does he have hair?
apparently he's bald in the manga because
Yeah, I
I
noticed
noticed
that.
that too. Because I never picked up on that before, but when I was reading it this past time, I realized that he was bald for that. And maybe that was supposed to be like in reference to Resurrection F because he does shave in that movie.
Yeah, and then it grows back, but I guess that memo wasn't written in the notes Tortaro got. So
Mhm.
um, I also will note that I'm assuming because she has less screen time and because she's not voiced, but Chi-Chi's a lot less annoying in the manga.
Yeah, well, she's also not given a whole lot of time, so
No, she has a few brief moments in like on the bleachers. She doesn't jump on the ground when Goku gets knocked out of the fight like she did in the
mhm.
previous one. She does, but not as dramatically as she did in the other one.
Yeah. I did like Vegeta and Cabba's fight though. I feel like they did that one justice.
That was good. I actually kind of liked it more than the anime version, which
Mhm.
is weird because they're pretty much the same for the most part.
Yeah, I mean there's like some small subtle differences that they're not super obvious, but it's just like little character interaction moments that are slightly different.
I like they showed a lot of the audience in the background, like their reactions to like Bulma's reaction to his fight. Like she's very much like, "What the fuck are you doing, Vegeta?"
Yeah, Universe 6 actually had an audience,
Yeah, I did notice that too.
which I thought was
Um,
interesting. I didn't
one of the
recognize like none of the races looked like they belonged like as fans of the people who were fighting, but
hmm. Another thing I noticed too was they cut certain aspects, like they cut out the whole Vegeta surviving falling out of the thing by like standing on that one tiny pebble.
yeah.
I
Well,
guess
I
they didn't
mean,
want to.
some of that stuff I feel like wouldn't translate very well between animation and like still images, you know?
Yeah, like the way that they kind of like framed it, like I guess they cut that. It actually honestly it does Vegeta a better service because like in the anime it just made Vegeta feel kind of pathetic.
Mhm.
It's like he only survived because of this, and it was like, oh, great.
Yeah, he took time to get a lot easier in this version of it.
I actually love how they handled that fight, where like he just throws all the insults and then just wins, and it cuts to that panel of his face up close, and he's like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah.
And then we get a little blurb explaining that the race is very sensitive, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's funny.
And I love how like Whis always reveals these things after the fact. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, they have this one crippling weakness. Like, you could have told us that sooner. Like,
so I have to say,
you
like,
wouldn't learn anything.
this manga actually like proved my thought that Whis isn't just a voice. Because like for a while I thought the reason Whis was so likable is because he's voiced by Ian Sinclair, but reading the manga, I'm like, no, Whis is just a great character in general.
Yeah, he's just a sassy bitch, and we love him for it.
I love how he's a sassy bitch, and then his sister Vados is literally an even more sassy bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, Vados is great. I always love anytime we get some time with her.
Yeah. Well, I like because they're basically the same character. They just well, she actively shits on her god of destruction. Whis is more kind of like just sarcastic with him.
Yeah, Whis is kind of camp about it.
Yeah. What did you think of Goku and Hit?
I liked this version. I understand why they went the different route here. Well, first of all, we got Super Saiyan God again this early, which in the anime we didn't get Super Saiyan God again until
Brawly,
mid Tournament of Power.
Right, I forgot Brawly technically came out first though. Well, the before the dub, because I was dub only, so I saw Brawly before the dub was finished.
Oh yeah, that's right. Broly did come out before Tournament of Power was done over here, didn't it?
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, but regardless of that, it technically doesn't come back until a Tournament of Power. But
yeah, so it was really cool getting that a lot earlier here, and even
I like
actually,
Goku's.
Okay,
I like Goku's reasoning for it too, like his whole, because Vegeta loses to Hit very quickly because he fucking does the Vegeta thing and like goes in gung ho and doesn't take time to learn what Hit's deal is and gets taken out in a minute. It's like, oh,
yeah, because it actually gets revealed in the manga here that the transformation itself for Super Saiyan Blue drains so much energy that if you use it, turn it off, and then use it again, you're actually at like less than 10% of like your maximum potential with Blue. So like you severely downgrading if you use it more than once.
Excuse me. Yeah, it was like one of those things where I like that they gave a bit more of a revelation to God form, because God form always felt so pointless after Blue was introduced in the show. Because like even in like the Tournament of Power, when like they use God form, like they don't really explain why he's using it. He just is using it for some reason.
Yeah, but when they explain it in the manga, and they say this is just the more balanced form. It's honestly the same kind of explanation that Goku gives in the Cell games when Goku and Gohan took all their time learning how to like make Super Saiyan feel as natural as their normal forms, because that was the best, like most well-rounded form out of everything they had at the time. And that's essentially what he's doing here with Super Saiyan God.
What's funny to me though is like the way they kind of explain that, because the anime did a really poor job of explaining that Blue is very taxing on the on both of them.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I believe Super Saiyan 3 is still more taxing, because Super Saiyan 3 is kind of fucking useless now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's really disappointing how they did Super Saiyan 3 dirty.
I find it really interesting though that Vegeta can do like God form and Super Saiyan Blue, but he still can't do Super Saiyan 3.
I think at this point he just doesn't care.
Well, yeah, because it's completely useless to him at this point. But like, I just find it interesting he never figured it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure theoretically he can do it. He just chooses not to.
Yeah, well, I like to think Vegeta, just knowing the Vegeta we know, that he can't, and that's just kind of a sticking point for him.
That's fair.
Because like Goku will occasionally bring out Super Saiyan 3 every now and then, and it's always like, why are you using that? It's completely useless.
Yeah. So Goku's big like strategy fighting hit was he was using Super Saiyan God instead of Blue, and then like at one point he switched to Blue real fast to get an edge on him.
Yeah. I also like how like the way they portrayed Hit, because Hit is one of my favorite characters from Super, like and just in terms of like new original characters.
Mhm.
I like how they portrayed him here, where he's like, first he's like super stoic, but then once he realizes Goku is like actually like an actual challenge, he gets really into it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they make the whole point about he's showing his stance and his legs are no longer hidden. It's like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's his version of powering up. You can see my legs.
He's actually taking it serious. That's his how he powers up.
Mhm.
I
Um,
I still
it-
did enjoy the whole Goku basically just forfeiting the fight and then Hit
mhm.
understanding what was going on, just forfeits himself just to because he doesn't give a shit.
It's just kind of like, all right, I'll give you this one guy, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
kind of felt bad about that.
I will say I understand why they didn't do it because it would be kind of hard to portray in manga form, but I the the lack of Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken.
True. Well, granted, there's no filler arc about Goku not being able to control his teleporting afterwards, so it really doesn't have a purpose anymore.
Well, I mean, it's just cool, you know, and the
It
whole
is cool.
concept of bringing back a technique that hasn't been used since like the Frieza saga, like you know what I mean?
True. I think the thing is, it's. I think, like you said earlier, it's one of those things that's cooler in animation than it is in manga.
Yeah, let's seeing the contrast between the blue and the red is what really makes it really cool. Um,
I forget what's I can't remember his name right now. What's the character that their Beerus is using to trick Goku into fighting stronger?
Monaka.
Monaka. Yeah, I felt so bad. The Monaka fight is hilarious because he gives it his all and hits just like, okay, I get it. It just
Yeah,
gives up.
it was pretty great. I love that Shampa's just like ready to destroy them all, and then just Zeno shows up.
Oh yeah, Zeno's interesting in the manga because he's like it's the same character, but for some reason without his voice, he feels more threatening in this one.
Hmm. Well, it's the blank stare, you know.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Goku is still the fucking goofball he is.
Yeah.
It's
Also,
like,
I did notice that Zeno's attendance, at least in the manga, they make Doctor Slump references because they go Baicha when they leave,
yeah,
which is an
yeah.
Arale thing.
Um, I was kind of bummed they didn't show the whole like acid trip of like going inside like Super Shenron, but
Hmm.
yeah, because they kind of just glaze over the wish, and then it's like Chomp is like, "Oh yeah, I have a Earth now, cool."
Well, again, that would be kind of hard to to accurately portray and have the same effect, you know.
True. Yeah. So Universe 6 overall, I like the fight. I like that whole arc. I like the minor differences. Um, I will say though, it's very interesting reading the manga because it is a quick read.
It really is, yeah.
I think it's because Dragon Ball has never been a super dialogue heavy series in general. I think it's mostly the art speaks for itself, which is a very good tactic when it comes to manga.
Well, Dragon Ball is interesting because like it really depends on which volume you're reading. Because some of them, like sometimes we have a volume that's just a huge info dump or like lots of character interactions, and then we'll get a volume that's nothing but battle, and that's one that you get through in like 20 minutes because
Mm,
it's just not like nothing but punches, kicks flying across the field or whatever.
yeah. So there's no copy Vegeta filler arc in the manga, um, which is fine to me because the best part of the copy Vegeta filler arc is the fact that they got Brian Drummond to voice him. Um,
Mhm.
so there's really nothing there. Then we get less Trunks and Goten doing nothing useful. So
But I think that was just a Toei thing. I don't think Toriyama had anything to do with copy Vegeta.
That's my guess too, because when they skipped it over entirely, I was like, yeah, that's fine.
I think they were just giving themselves some time to work out the logistics of the trunk stuff, which
Yeah,
is the final arc we will be covering in this episode, and the longest of the ones we've covered so far.
yeah, which is funny because even then it still is abridged to a degree.
It's still like 3 volumes.
Well, it's not even that it's abridged. It's more that they just cut out a lot of bullshit that the anime version has. Because
For sure.
which is weird too, because it's completely different in a lot of ways too.
Oh yeah, it's easily the one with the most changes out of the ones we've covered so far.
Yeah, because where do you want to start? I guess that's the best way to.
I don't know, because it starts pretty much the same. I mean, the one major thing is Bulma's already dead by the time the arc starts.
Yeah, we don't see
Like
Bulma
future
die.
Bulma, future Bulma.
Yeah. Also, Mai is a hell of a lot more developed in the manga.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like she's actually kind of like a fully realized character.
Yeah.
They still don't really call much attention to the fact that she's been around Goku since he was 12, but
At this point, it gets super weird, especially the fact that like it's basically all but confirmed she's the romantic interest of Future Trunks. So it's kind of like let's not dive too deep into the logistics of that because it gets really weird really fast.
yeah.
I think that's kind of their reasoning for not bringing it up because let's face it, that if you were watching Dragon Ball back in the day and someone from the future popped up and told you, "Oh yeah, by the way, Future Trunks' love interest is Mai," people would be like, "Huh?"
Yeah, right? No shit.
It makes sense in the context of Super, but it's one of those things you just don't think about too much.
Hey, it would get even weirder if they said, "Hey, Future Trunks and Kid Trunks' romance interests are both my."
Yeah, which is really fucking funny in hindsight when you actually understand the context of it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
To be fair though, future Mai and classic Mai from Dragon Ball original Dragon Ball are basically different characters.
Pretty much. I mean, that's the thing with Super's it's a little bit less so with the manga, but mostly with the anime. A lot of the characters are really more caricatures
True. Well,
of themselves.
even then, like going back to like original Dragon Ball, other than Pilaf, like Mai and Shu are kind of just yes men. They really don't do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the only real like moment with like Mai I can think of is when she gets rejected by the sexist mountain in the filler arc at the end.
Yeah, that's true. Although
'Cause
I'll always remember that one scene of original Dragon Ball where Pilaf rips ass and then blames it on Shu and then threatens to feed him to alligators if he doesn't admit that it was him.
yeah. Yeah, because like other than that, like they don't appear in Z like at all. I think other than like they're giving energy during the final spirit bomb. And
I don't think they're even. I don't even think they're in that.
I think it's only implied or something. I don't know. Either way, or I'm misremembering.
I think going from the sexist mountain stuff, I think the very next time we see them is the first episode of GT.
Yeah, and that version no longer exists. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving on from that, like I will say though, like writing wise, Mai and Trunks gets a lot better interactions.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say
For sure. I just realized this. Did we see Gohan at all during any of the volumes we read?
yeah, because he's there when they explain how God happened because Fidel's there.
Right. Okay, so we saw him in that one, but he doesn't get a single line.
I don't think so. Now that
I don't even think
about it.
I don't even think we saw him at all during the Future Trunk stuff, which is weird.
Did he go to the tournament in Super, like the Universe 6 tournament?
No, he in both
right,
versions he had a conference.
Yeah, because I always remember Fidel's there, but Gohan's not.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because she brought Pan, and there was one point where she covered Pan's eyes.
Yeah, because
I think it was when Vegeta was beating the shit out of Kaba, and she covered his eyes.
there's a
Or
shot
her eyes.
of because they show in the stands multiple times that Chi Chi, 18, Bulma, and Videl are all sitting next to each other because the wife gang's got to hang out there.
All the baby machines got to hang out.
Yeah, kind of.
That's kind of how it works in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, because she's shown covering Pan's eyes, and Bulma's lashing out at Vegeta for being Vegeta. So
Oh, wasn't that so? What when we first catch up with like the present timeline gang, and we're seeing that lesson that Trunks and the Pilaf gang are having for their their school, and she's explaining parallel worlds, the teacher,
yeah, and
and she's
time
like
paradoxes. I was like,
going this whole thing about time paradox, and it's like, well, if Trunks went back in time to share this apple with his mother as a child, and then she chokes, that creates a parallel timeline where he didn't exist. And
that's
then
got
like she goes through
my
the whole explanation, and then she's like, "Oh, this was actually supposed to be a lesson for Smart University. Today we're learning math."
my favorite line though is Bulma walking and be like, "That's very nice and all. Could do a lot without me dying though."
Yeah, right.
Like I love Bulma is always written so well because she's always sassy as fuck.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, we didn't
Uh,
even talk about Bulma going to the guy that knows everything.
oh, Zuno, yeah. Well, that was pretty
'Cause-
much exactly the same as in the anime.
True. The scene though where Piccolo realizes why Bulma and why Goku and Vegeta like their wives is still pretty funny though.
Yeah, for sure. Also,
Um,
I'm pretty sure that Zuno scene is the first time we see Jocko in the manga.
yeah, because it's when he picks up Bulma and they still make Vegeta's like, don't do anything funny with my wife. He's like you, and then Bulma beats him
Mm,
up.
yeah.
It's somehow funnier than his overly exaggerated thing he does in the anime.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, Jocko's a
Um,
lot less annoying in the manga than he is in the anime.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't have anything like really negative about Jocko. Like, I like Jocko.
I like him to a degree, but some of his lines in the anime were really annoying. It's like just get on with it.
Did you ever read his manga?
I haven't yet. I gotta find it.
Gotcha.
Also,
Um,
Bulma's sister like actually like appears like at Capsule Corp in this version.
yeah, isn't that bizarre? Like, I wasn't expecting to see her in the manga.
Isn't her name
It-
Tights?
yes.
Okay, because they're all named after underwear. That's right.
Mhm. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, they have their little um hangout conversation thing, and then Trunks just kind of appears.
Yeah. Also, Mai only gets knocked out once in this time. She doesn't get double knocked out like she does in the anime.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because in the
they only go to the future twice as opposed to three times.
Yeah, because in the anime originally she gets knocked out there, and then it shows her hand twitch, and then she gets up at some point because she
Mhm.
gets knocked out again later on when they come back. In this version, she gets knocked out, and then she doesn't get revived until they come back.
And I love the explanation that they give about why she survived the attack. Like when we get to that.
Yeah. Um. Also, something I found really interesting is for a second I thought they were because they show when Trunks escapes to the future, they show Goku Black. He's messing around with the wire, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna do the thing where he follows Trunks to the future. They don't. They just completely cut that out entirely.
Mhm.
Like, there's no
Yeah.
arc about they have to build another time machine because Black destroys it there. Um, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny how he's just like, yeah, whatever. I'll just wait around and see what happens. Like,
Yeah, it's funny to me how there's a lot of the scenes they cut were just the needless like fluff that really wasn't necessary.
yeah, and that's one of the things that I like about the manga version is it's short and sweet, you know. It's not overly complicated.
They somehow do more with less because
Mm.
yeah, they go Trunks kind of goes through his whole spiel of explaining. I still like how Beerus is like, She's because Beerus is all like, yeah, time travel, that's illegal. And then Bulma's like, oh, funny how you mentioned that. And then it's like he's like, what the fuck is this? Like,
Yeah, I love how they're having a whole conversation about time travel and parallel timelines and all this other stuff, and then Trunks just appears. It's like literally speak of the devil, you know?
yeah. I also find it interesting. So I completely forget, like, though. So they go back to the future, and then Beerus starts going on his quest to figure out like who could be the cause of this Goku Black.
Well, before we jump into that, I do want to call attention to Goku and Trunks' little sparring match.
Right.
Because the manga makes it seem like Trunks is actually a lot stronger than he should be.
Well, yeah, because don't they bring up like he still technically has some abilities he got from the Kais?
Well, yeah, they explain that a little bit later on, but it's one of those things like how I mentioned earlier, how back in the Cell games, back when Goku and Gohan decided, oh, Super Saiyan 1 is the best, most balanced form we have right now, so we're just going to perfect that and get the most out of that we can. And they ended up being the strongest two in the group. Trunks essentially did the same thing with Super Saiyan 2. Because when Goku went Super Saiyan 3 and then Trunks powered up, they're like, holy shit, Trunks is just as strong as Goku is in Super Saiyan 3, which is wild to think about because a lot of people tend to think of the Super Saiyan forms as like, oh, like Super Saiyan is like this level of strength, the Super Saiyan 2 is that level of strength, but they're really multipliers. So it's all based on what their base level is at that time. So people think
Also
Super Saiyan 3 and they think Boo level, but Goku Super Saiyan 3 now is like way fucking more powerful than he was back in the Boo saga. So Trunks being able to match that in Super Saiyan 2 is fucking wild.
True. Granted, though, Toriyama also just completely will change how powers work on like a whim. So
that's true, but I feel like Toyotaro having some at least some creative freedom with the manga and being a fan from childhood, I feel like he probably thinks a little bit more about the continuity than Toriyama does.
true. Honestly, yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting, even though we don't get his new form in this arc.
Yeah.
I still thought it was cool that he just like naturally just his base, like he actually continued his training and got a lot stronger, like to the point where he probably could kill Boo.
Yeah, honestly. Well, don't they imply that he does kill Boo? Or no, he prevents Boo from ever appearing.
Yeah, he kills Babidi and Deborah before they are able to awaken, which I like the explanation they actually gave for why they showed up so late, because it took them that long to get the energy because there was so few humans left alive on Earth.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. So eventually it's settled that they're just gonna go right back to the future, like Goku and Vegeta and Trunks. And then while that's happening, Beerus is trying to figure out what caused Goku Black.
I like that Kibito is under suspicion because of
because
the subtly racist comments he's made over the years.
Yeah, because Shin like just throws him under the bus because for some reason in this like the guys are like, no, we can't have them involved in our affairs for some reason.
I mean, Kibito was kind of always like that. Like in the Buu saga, when they brought Gohan to the world of the Kais, he was like, "Oh, mortals shouldn't be allowed here," and blah blah blah.
Yeah. So then, I forget. Do we get the Zamatsu stuff next, or do we get Goku and Vegeta going and Trunks back in the future?
Well, I think they did end up getting the upper hand on Goku Black while they were in the future that first time, and then Zamasu showed up and saved him.
Right, yeah, because they go back, and then like the first thing Trunks does is he gives Mai the sensu bean, and then we get the iconic Goku. What are you doing? That's weird. Why would you kiss a girl? And Vegeta's like, you're married, and he's like, yeah. So and I love the the panel of Vegeta's face being like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Well, I am a little upset that we don't get the racist Trunks line.
Which one was that?
Don't shoot. This man isn't black.
Well, there's Goku has one. Goku's got a line that is pretty questionable. I'm not gonna lie, I forget.
Does he? I don't remember what it was.
I'd have to look at it, but there's one where I read it and I was like, "Oh, out of context, that's weird."
Yeah, that's about right. I just like that Goku Black actually went. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's something like where Goku's like, "No, don't worry, I'm not black," or something like that. Like, I'm just like, they did not think this through.
Yeah, some of those lines. Well, it's just kind of one of those things. Well, Japan doesn't have the same kind of like they don't really see race as like describing it as colors. So
I know. I just feel like Viz, when they translated it, could have thought of that better.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, that's definitely on Viz. But I like that Goku Black actually went regular Super Saiyan here. Because it actually showed like progression. He didn't just go straight to like god level form.
Well, I also like the fact that they revealed the fact that like when Zamasu steals Goku's body, he doesn't just immediately have all this power. Like, he's got to figure out how it fucking works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's very reminiscent of the Ginyu body swap back in Z.
Yeah, it's like, just because it has all this power doesn't mean I can use it.
Yeah, and like learning how the transformations work and all of that is a big part of it as well.
Also, I found it interesting that all the little like side characters, like, because in the anime, like, there's an entire like base of like survivors from that universe. That's all just completely omitted.
Yeah, they kind of bait and switched us with that because they had that one scene where they're like, this little shed over here has the last remaining humans on Earth. They're dead. Like,
yeah.
You think you're gonna like, oh, that's where Yajirobe and all them are gonna. Nope, they're all gone. It doesn't matter who's in there. They're all dead.
We don't get multiple scenes of Android 8 just staring at nothing for 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. That was fucking bizarre.
It's like his only.
They just wanted to show him. That's all.
No, that was like his only appearance in Super, and it's in a non-canon, a camp future that no longer happens.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a lot of fun stuff with that first fight that they had with Black and Zamasu.
I found it interesting.
Zamasu. I keep getting. I'm gonna keep flipping back and forth between Zamasu and Zamasu. Because Zamasu, they say Zamasu in the anime, and in the manga they say Zamasu. So
yeah. I also found it interesting that this time around they don't all go back. It's only Goku and Vegeta go back.
Yeah.
Trunks stays behind.
And how Gowasu and Shin both show up like pretty early on.
Yeah. Gowasu, actually, he's much more interesting in this version than he is in the anime, I will say.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he's much more of a character. Like, in the anime, he's kind of like, oh no, I've been betrayed. Oh well. In this one, he is convinced he can still save Zamasu or whatever, which backfires on him tremendously.
Yeah, he gets a sword to the chest.
Also, jumping ahead a little bit, was Vegito always a different name in the manga?
In the Viz translation, yes, he's always been Vegerat.
Because I saw that, I was like, what? I'm like, that's different.
Yeah, I don't know, it's a weird error in translation, I guess, and they just stuck with it because they already said it as that years ago. So
I will say, though, one thing I do enjoy is because Trunks doesn't spend a ton of time in the past in this time around, because he pretty much goes right back as soon as possible. We don't get as much young, like, kid Trunks being cringe as fuck this time around.
Yeah, the scene in the anime where he's got like the fucking hacksaw on his back,
and Mai's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I don't want to give anything away, but there's some funny, like after the time skip when they actually have their growth spurts and Trunks is still trying to get Mai to like him. It's some goofy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how his future counterpart like lands her pretty much instantly, but like he's gonna fucking be a cringe lord.
Yeah, that's about right.
It's weird. It's still weird that that's a canon pairing now, but that's besides the point.
In multiple timelines.
I know. I just
It's
always remember.
fate.
I just always remember that goddamn scene of him holding the hacksaw. I'm like, bud, you realize that's not why she's interested in him, right?
I mean, it kind of tracks with like their family's history with choosing guys.
True.
Or like choosing mates. I mean, Bulma chose Vegeta, which that was a fucking mess. And then Trunks ended up with the woman who tried to roast his mother alive when they were kids.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
The only difference is Trunks doesn't know about that.
Yeah. Oh, I did also love the flashback scene where they show how the Pilaf gang ended up as children in the future.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
We never do find out what happened to Pilaf. I'll save that the reference to that for when we get to it, but
yeah, it's pretty fun. I do like the little joke. We mentioned the joke things at the end of each chapter. How one of those Zamasu had traded bodies with Monaka first.
Oh yeah, because
like,
Goku.
Oh wait, this body's actually weak.
Yeah, or like later on. Well, I'll save it when we get to it because they reference it again later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So I will say we kind of glossed over the whole Zamasu like his whole character arc where they show him like they go into that past of that one planet.
Oh, that planet Barbari.
Yeah, because they're trying to. It's basically them showcasing how Zamasu is incredibly racist to mortals.
Mm-hmm.
That was somehow that was more, I think, effective in the manga than it was in the anime, despite not being animated.
Yeah, well, it's interesting how some of these scenes do have that greater effect when they're on a page rather than on a screen.
Well, it's interesting too because they show what's the Kai of Universe 10's name again?
Goasu.
They show Goasu like he's a lot less gullible in this version because in the anime he's gullible as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
This one, like he notices right away. He's like, yeah, there's something not right about this guy. But he's trying to be like impartial, like that he thinks that it's just a phase. Because when Zamasu kills the mortal from the future, he gets basically bitched. He's like, you shouldn't have done that. Like that was unnecessary. Like no more privileges for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it literally gave him all the information and tools that he needed in that one little like trying to teach him a lesson thing. Which
we also don't really see him. We don't really see him try to murder Goasu in the current timeline. Like Beerus kind of just kills him before he can even attempt it.
Yeah, Shin just kind of shows up. He's like, "Hey, I just peeked in the future real quick, and Zamasu's gonna kill you." Like,
yeah. Also, Shin's a lot more prominent in the manga than he is in the show.
Yeah, he definitely takes some more initiative in this version than he does in the other one.
Oh, I forgot. We also those gag images. We forgot to mention the one of Goku still grabs the Cosmic King's dick.
Oh yeah, I love just a running joke that will continue to happen. Like every time they cross paths. Like
I love the fact though that in the manga, rather than him being like, "Oh, be careful, Goku, that's a very sensitive part," and Goku freaks out, it's just him going, "That's not a tentacle."
Yep.
Like with an annoyed look on his face.
Like, good for you, man.
It's just like think that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back though, like eventually, like Goku and Vegeta go back to they have to go back to the future because Zamatsu torches all of their sensu beans.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like that when they go up to Korn's tower, they're playing Twister.
Yeah, it's just totally random. And just once again, they make the joke of like, "Hey, is this fun?" They're just like, "No, it's actually kind of boring."
Yeah, it's kind of boring with one person.
Yeah,
Also, were they playing on the whole? I'm convinced that he was playing into the whole
the
abridged
lovers
joke.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
they
pretty
spend
sure
a
that was that
they
was.
they spend a lot of time together up there.
Yeah, yeah, Yajirobe just realized he doesn't have to be there, right? Like he can go and like do stuff.
He
Like
likes the sensu beans too much.
I guess. I thought he liked eating
he's
dinosaurs and fish.
he's the most useless Ronin ever.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
Oh,
yeah, but
we didn't talk about Mario Kart.
oh yeah, because yeah, Beerus is a rage quitter.
Yep. How many consoles did he break?
A lot.
He destroyed like 4 consoles because he kept losing in Mario Kart.
Yeah. I did just that whole gag is really funny to me because they don't reveal at first it's a video game, so I'm just like, oh, they're playing Mario Kart, I guess. Like I guess Bulma's rich enough to have that.
Yep.
And then
Trunks
it's like,
just whips out a turtle shell. Like, yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense, right?
And then it cuts to they're playing a video game. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But I wasn't questioning it because I was like, yeah, Bulma's probably rich enough. She probably has that somewhere.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I also like that the Pilaf gang just kind of lives there now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they did in the anime too, but in this version, they kind of make it show that they basically they're just residents of Capsule Corp now.
And there was no setup for it in the manga at all because they didn't show them in the Battle of Gods like half a volume that we had. They just were there at the beginning of Future Trunks.
Yeah. Yeah, and we don't get their explanation for how they got de-aged as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we kind of get it in that one little like 2-page blurb. We know that was the future version, but we know that that was the time that it happened. So
It's also really fucked up too that was the final wish on the Dragon Balls because Piccolo died.
yeah, like literally like with seconds to spare, that was the last wish.
It's actually really sad. That is actually Gohan's most prominent appearance in the manga so far. And
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's the kid version of him from the future.
Yeah, it's like Android Saga Gohan.
Yeah,
So
so I
weird.
was thinking about that. I'm like, that's his most prominent appearance so far.
So I guess he did get a speaking line. All right,
Yeah,
there we go. We're getting somewhere.
the manga really highlights just how fucking useless he was the first half of the show.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, don't worry. We'll get some Gohan in the next arc. So
Yeah. So yeah, Back to the Future. Eventually, like obviously, Goku and Vegeta come back, and the fight continues.
oh well, we got to talk about Goku's Goku's random burst of knowledge that he never had because he's just like, oh, we have to fight an immortal. We should use the Mafuba, which he has no business knowing about because he's never seen anyone use it, and he didn't stick around long enough for anyone to tell him about it after it was a thing in the show. Oh wait, no, because he saw Kami do it.
Yeah, he did in the Tournament of Power.
That's
Or,
right.
No, I mean the final tournament of Dragon Ball.
So you would think he would have gone and asked Piccolo and not Master Roshi because he wouldn't have known that Roshi knew it.
Toriyama forgot.
Yeah.
It's sad that can be the answer for anything in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because he does the same thing in the anime version too. Although in the anime version, it's less. Goku doesn't seem as smart. Like he's just weird.
It was Piccolo's idea in the anime.
Right. That's true. Yeah, in the manga, it's like it's the most out of character Goku moment. Because Goku is like only smart when it comes to fighting. Like this is like weirdly knowledgeable.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely downplay the dumb Goku thing in the Super manga. In the anime, they went like really crazy with it to the point where it was kind of unbelievable.
To be honest, though, like thinking about it, like Goku, like in terms of actual like screen time so far through the manga, he's not like the main character like all the time.
No, it seems pretty split for the most part.
Vegeta
The only thing is like the side characters that you'd think should be more involved are the ones that aren't. Like we like we've mentioned so far, we get a lot of like Supreme Kai and Kibito and Gawasu.
And then like my future Mai, it is weirdly, well, not weirdly, like I actually appreciate them developing her this time around.
Yeah, like I love the trick that she plays where like she's got like all the
Oh yeah, they're
shroud.
all in the cart, and then she's like, "Surprise, bitch!"
Yeah, and then they dip out, and she just starts like pumping shotgun shells into Goku Black.
Which is hilariously useless, but I do give her credit for trying.
And she like turned it around like a club and just whacked him over the head with it. Like, and she got
There,
balls of steel, man.
there are multiple points in this where Trunks tells her to go hide because he doesn't want her to get hurt. And she's like, "Fuck you, dude! I'm gonna fight."
Yeah, it's like I'm literally the last woman on Earth. Like I'm doing
Yeah.
something here. Like
she's like legit, dude. You're like the only other person that I care about. I'm not just gonna run away and hide.
yeah, for real.
Which I appreciate because like I really like Future Mai in the anime, but like she really half the time she's either knocked out or just in the background, not doing anything. In this one, she's like actually trying to be part of the actual fight and like doing stuff, which I really, even though it doesn't really do much, it like at least she's like attempting.
Oh, and while Goku and Vegeta escape to the past, Goku is just like in the anime, he summoned his Zenos, and they have their whole exchange, and he says, "I'll bring you somebody to hang out
Yeah,
with." And
because I was when I was reading this, I was waiting for that to happen. I'm like, when does this happen? Because I know in the anime it's a little different how they do it. Because I was wondering, I'm like, how are they gonna stop them if he doesn't have the button? Because I forgot he doesn't get the button until then. Yeah, it was definitely interesting. Yeah, because he does that. Plus, he learns the evil containment beam.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, well, what is Vegeta doing again? Is he just hanging out in? Oh, no, he goes to
He's
the
in the time chamber.
Time chamber, right?
Yeah, he was figuring out the whole switching between God and Blue thing.
Oh yeah,
apparently he overcame that stamina block that he had trouble with in Universe 6.
Yeah, because Vegeta doesn't, because in the anime Vegeta, we don't see Vegeta do God until Brawly.
Yeah, and we see it in this arc in the manga in the Goku Black arc.
I really like Goku's characterization here too, because like when Vegeta does goes God form, Goku's like, he finally did it, which is cool.
Yeah,
like
great.
Goku is honestly a lot better written in the manga so far.
Yeah, for sure.
Like he was very flanderized in the Super anime. I mean, I love the Super anime, but he is very flanderized at times.
Yeah, like I said, he's a caricature of Goku.
It's kind of like how
even dumber than he was when he was a 12-year-old.
It's kind of like how Chi-Chi was like all of her development from like the end of Z was completely just thrown out the window in Super.
Yeah, for sure.
Granted, like the Toriyama's ideas are probably more on line with the manga than the anime teams were. So,
So yeah, they go back to the future, and we didn't talk about how Shin and Gawasu had saved Trunks and Mai and brought them to the world of the Kais to hide out and recover.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then they come back because they can sense that Goku Black and Zamasu were running around killing all the remaining humans.
Yeah, they just straight up wipe out humanity in this one. It's like it kind of is like the whole time I'm sitting here going like, damn, it's like at this point, what are Trunks and Mai even fighting for?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are other planets too, but which they were eventually going to move on to.
I will say that is like the one thing that I feel like the anime did better was like you in this version, like the humanity gets wiped out so fucking nonchalantly that you're kind of like, at this point, what are they even fighting at this point? But in the anime, like you have all that character development. It's like showing that there's all these survivors and they really do care. And then when they get just fucking annihilated, it really punches you in the gut.
Yeah, for sure.
This one, it's kind of like, well, I didn't know any of those humans, so I don't really care that much.
Yeah, I mean, this is really about, getting closure with Trunks and Mai.
Yeah.
It's not really about
Um,
any of the others, which I mean, I don't know, it's kind of good and also kind of bad.
I like the fact that they put more focus on Trunks and Mike and made them actually fully developed, but at the same time, a lot of the real like stakes were just completely gone. At this point, they were just getting rid of an inconvenience.
Yeah. Um. So yeah,
Um,
Goku and Vegeta show back up,
Also,
and
another thing they omit that like I found really weird is they omit the whole like explaining how Zamasu kidnapped, like, took Goku's body and then brutally murdered Chi Chi and Goten. That's completely removed from this.
yeah, they just skip right over that. They just say,
So
"Yeah, I killed you." Like,
yeah, and
end of
it
story.
completely Goku kind of is more heartless in the manga this time around.
Well, I mean, if Zamasu had rubbed it in his face, I'm sure he would have gotten mad. But
Yeah, that was a very effective scene in the anime because it did show that he does care despite him being himself.
yeah, I feel like the beating that Vegeta and Goku got in the anime was more brutal than the manga version.
Goku and Vegeta are kind of just like there in the manga version. It's much more focused on Trunks and Mai plus Goasu and Shin.
Yeah.
Because even
But
when they oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, like we get Goku using the evil containment wave on Zamasu.
This both made me
Yeah.
laugh and frustrated the fuck out of me.
I mean, at least we know that this is a canon event because it happens in both versions.
Yeah. I just the fact that like the whole time it's like he does it like perfectly and they seal him in and then all of a sudden it's like they cut to it's a coupon for a fucking brothel or strip club, whatever, and then it's like, God damn it, Goku.
Yeah.
But then they have that gag image where they're like, maybe I should have gave him the jar that had the thing inscribed into it.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
Well,
you think?
I kind of wish that they had because in the anime Trunks learns it, and I feel like that would have been better because I like the idea of him having that under his belt for the future. Like, because
Mhm.
more people are gonna show up, we're not gonna have him come back to the past every time that happens. So knowing that he has that available to him, you know, kind of helps with any future issues.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think we're ever canonically going to see future Trunks again.
No, we'll see him in the video games and stuff, but I don't think he's ever going to show up in the main story again.
Yeah. Well, because I know they appear in Heroes at one point, but that's all not canon. So
Yeah, Heroes and Xenoverse and all that.
yeah. Um, I will say one thing I really liked was how they handled Immortal Zamasu and Black fusing together this time around.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. How they kind of like, they explain the time limit thing and they say, well, because in the anime, I feel like they explained it like the unstable fusion was different between the
Yeah.
anime and the manga.
Well, in the anime, in the anime version, fused Goku Black Zamasu, they start like degenerating because of the half immortal thing. In
Yeah,
this one,
and
it's
they don't. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna add a point to that. They never say it outright, but I think a part of that unstable fusion was also because Goku Black was in Rose when they fused, and Old Kai made it a point when they originally did Vegito in the Buu saga to say, "Do not fuse while transformed because it'll put a strain on your body and you'll die quicker."
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
that makes sense. I also really like that they actually explain the time limit
yeah.
for non Kais because like I always thought that was such an ass pull from Toriyama being like, oh yeah, there's a time limit, huh?
Yeah, the old
That's why.
explanation was just that the air inside of Boo was bad, and that's why they unfused. That was the old
Yeah,
explanation.
I really like though that they explain that the whole reason why it was they have Goasu explain it to them, And he's like, "What? You never taught it to them?" He's like, "Oh, I never knew." And then they explain the whole fact that the previous Kai died before he could explain it to them.
Yeah.
Like I thought that
Which
was a much better explanation than just whatever Toriyama was trying to say.
I love that the Supreme Kai is just continuously, like in both versions, just continuously getting shit on for not having this information that he should know. But it's not his fault. Like all of his teachers died before he had a chance to learn any of it. He literally has been riding by the seat of his pants ever since then.
Was it ever explained officially why they unfused him in Kibito?
I think I mean, they never wanted to be fused forever in the first place.
True.
Because old Kai said, "Hey, try out the fusion thing," and they said, "Hey, cool, we're fused," and he said, "Okay, cool, you're staying like that forever." Like what? Like you didn't say that.
Yeah, I just thought it was such a weird thing to just undo, but I guess it's more interesting with. I mean, to be fair, Kibito really doesn't do much, but just having
I didn't like Kibito Kai very much because it just kind of like I liked having the two characters to bounce off each other and just fusing them into one is just kind of dumb. I just
yeah,
didn't care for his design very much, honestly.
I just thought it was. Well, yeah, the design is pretty meh. To me, it's more just like it just felt like an asshole. Like, oh, they're just unfused now because I felt like it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those things where he wrote it initially to explain the Potara fusion, and then he realized, shit, I didn't really want this long term.
Well,
So I need to just
I think at the time, Toriyama did it because, hey, I only have to draw one character now.
knowing
Because
Toriyama probably.
he's famous for those kinds of shortcuts.
Yeah. Also, though, I don't think he intended to do any sequel series, so he probably wasn't gonna expect to have them around much longer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was ready for the show to be done at that point. So
Yeah. I did find that interesting, though. Also, I found it really weird that like uh the Vegito basically, or whatever he's called in the manga, um his fight is very insignificant.
yeah, it happens real quick.
It happens real quick, and then he isn't even the one that cuts fused Zamasu in half. That's Trunks.
Yeah, well, I love the way that happens because they hit the time limit. Well, actually, we should probably talk about how Goku fought him after that. Um, so in this version, once again, there's no blue Kaioken.
Yeah.
But in this version, I really like what they do because, especially in the anime, whenever somebody goes blue, you always see that like really like strong aura around them. Like it's very prominent, very obvious, like kind of just takes over like the whole area around them. So their way of being like, okay, Goku's way of getting the power boost he needs was he's sucking all that aura into himself and he's like containing it there, and it's kind of like creating like a pressure inside of him, and that's making him like a lot stronger because that's part of the reason why blue is such a stamina drain is because all that power is just leaking out constantly.
Yeah.
So that was a really interesting way to give him that kind of showdown with Zamasu. Also, we see Zamasu with no shirt, which is really bizarre.
Yeah, we do. Oh yeah, we
it was
also
very reminiscent of it's very reminiscent of BoJack, honestly.
We also didn't mention too, because we had mentioned that Goasu gets fucking shanked by Zamasu because he thinks he can save him, but we didn't explain that Trunks manages to heal him because Trunks has healing powers in this version.
Yeah, because when Trunks was training with the Z Sword to fight Babidi and Deborah before Goku Black showed up, he apparently was apprenticed by the Supreme Kai, and with that comes special powers like how Kibito has. Which actually, come to think of it, shouldn't that give him teleporting powers too?
Toriyama forgot.
Kibito can teleport.
Toriyama forgot.
Yeah.
Also, one of my favorite joke panels is the whole like when they fuse together, they're in a Manaka form, and he's like, "No, wrong form."
Yeah. um, but yeah, so Goku pushes Zamasu to his limit, and then they start to unfuse. But because they're the same person, they started to merge on a molecular level, and the fusion was like kind of trying to pull them back together.
Yeah, it's like this weird like spider webby thing going on, and then Trunks just straight up like shanks him down the middle. And then we get the most what the fuck moment of the manga.
Where this is where a lot of the big difference here, because Infinite Zamasu, which I believe is the official title for this, is very different in this version. Instead of becoming the sky, whatever the fuck happened in the anime, he gets like a Hydra situation going on. If you remember that from the Hercules Disney movie.
Yeah, where like every time he gets cut apart, he just becomes two, and then they multiply.
Yeah. Every piece that gets cut off becomes another merged Zamasu.
Also, I like in this version too, where like they're like, "Oh shit, what do we do? This is fucked." And it's like Goku's like, "I know," and he brings Zeno to the future, and they're like, he's like, "Yeah, Zeno, that guy's bad. You need to do something about that." And Zeno's like, "Ah, okay, delete universe." And they're like, "No, not that."
He's a Control Alt Delete.
And they're like, everyone's like, "Go, go, go, get out of here in the time machine." And then I like the image of all the Zamasus running like a bitch in the background.
Yeah, just trying to dip out as fast as they can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how like in the original version he just straight up like yoinks it out of existence, and it's like they don't even really react to it. In this version they're like, "No, we did not mean erase the universe."
Yeah, right. Like, oh well, it is what it is. What are you gonna
Because
do?
then also we get that lovely image of Goku, because they have to abruptly get away. Goku and Vegeta couldn't get in the time machine, so they were just holding on to it.
Yeah.
And you get this lovely close up of Goku's face just smushed against the glass,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure
He's all like
Trunks and
dizzy
Mai,
and shit.
yeah, and I'm sure Trunks and Mai had a great view of that the whole time.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it was all told, I really like this version of the arc.
Oh, we
The
got
way
to
they
talk
kind of
about
explain.
we got to talk about Trunks and Mai back in the present really quick. So when they come back out of the pod, they reunite with their younger selves, but then
Oh yes.
Mai runs into Pilaf and Shu, and which I like because the anime just completely doesn't even acknowledge this. They just don't even talk once.
Yeah.
This one, like, she's all happy to see them again, and then he's like, "Tell me what happens to me in the future," and she's like, "Oh, yeah, it's not great." And then she gets distracted.
To think that happened.
Yeah, and then she gets distracted really fast by something else, by Beerus showing up, and then Pilaf's like, "What happens to me in the future?"
Yeah.
Which is really
yeah,
funny.
pretty funny.
We also see them, they chill like for a few days because you get to see like Trunks and Mai just in casual clothes, like on a couple of scenes.
Yeah, they hang out, they're resting, recuperating from all the excitement. Goku does the same thing he does in the anime, where he goes and picks up future Zeno and brings him to present Zeno, and then they're friends. And everything's happy.
Yeah, and then like you got the is it Grand Kai or the head angel, whatever his name is,
The Grand Priest.
Grand Priest. He's all like, "What an interesting character."
Yeah, no kidding.
Because they're like, "Did you plan this, Goku?" He's like, "No," and they're like, "You idiot."
Just happened to work out that way. It's just, it's just how I do.
He lied right to Zeno's face, and it worked out for him in the end, anyways.
Where literally the best possible outcome happened for him.
See, my headcanon is Zeno knows Goku's full of shit, but he just is so interested in him that he doesn't care.
Or they're just in the same wavelength, brain wise.
Yeah, he's aware that Goku's lying to his face, but he's like, "I like this guy. I'm gonna see what happens." I'm sure he'll think of something.
For sure.
But yeah, we get We get the scene of Trunks and Mai going off in the time ship for the final time, and then Pilaf's like, "Wait, what happens to me in the future?" And she basically gives him a non-answer, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Their explanation for where they're going is kind of bizarre, because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
No, it never really did. See, I was always under the I get why they didn't, because it would have been confusing, but I've always been like under the thought of they should have just stayed.
Yeah, I've always felt that way too.
Well, what's
There's really
funny
no
is
reason for them to leave, but
what's hilarious was I'm sitting here thinking like, I wonder if this is a fanon thing. And I'm like, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm surprised Masako X hasn't covered this yet. And then I was like, I was kind of thinking about it, and I'm like, I go to his YouTube channel, I'm like, oh, he already has. Like, interesting.
of course.
Yeah, it's one of his multiple fan fictions that he's written.
Yeah, because the way they explain it was, so Beerus killed Present Zamasu.
Yes.
Which created another alternate timeline where
Yes.
Zamasu didn't do all the things. Which, but when they're talking about like, oh, like we're gonna go to that timeline, they're like, well, what happens when Goku Black shows up? It's like, well, that's the whole thing with this timeline. That's why this timeline was created, is because he's not going to show up because Beerus killed him. So it's just kind of like a weird, like, did they just forget that?
Well, also, like, too, is like the whole reason why they're going to another timeline is because they don't want to get in the way of the current Trunks and Mai that are in that universe. But then I'm like, at the same time, like, they're going to another universe that has its own Trunks and Mai, so there are going to be two of them anyways.
At least in this situation, there's an age difference.
There's an age difference, and they're fully understanding, and they've accepted it.
Yeah. Oh, and but I do want to call attention to the from beginning of the arc when Trunks first showed up after escaping. How when Kid Trunks goes up, they just completely just denied any argument about the hair thing. They just said, "Hey, Trunks, is there a guy with the same hair color as you in there?" They don't say what that hair color is. Yeah. They just completely skirt around that.
Although the covers for the manga confirm he has blue hair. So
yeah, which is weird because I'm pretty sure Bulma's actual like
original hair
color
was
she was supposed to have was supposed to be purple. So it's just a weird situation with that family.
They've just fucked it up so hard at this point that even Toriyama doesn't. Well, he didn't know anymore.
At this point, they're just trolling us. I know it.
See, to me, like the biggest thing that completely made this weird was the fact that in Superhero they made Kid Trunks have blue hair all of a sudden. I was like, it's completely made it not make sense. Does his genetics just change? Like what?
You see, I could have accepted that. I could have accepted, oh, your hair gets darker as you get older. Yeah, whatever.
But that doesn't
explain
the
fact that Gotenks still had the purple hair.
Like, there's that, and also the fact that Dr. Briefs just has purple hair always.
Yeah, I don't know. It's they're actually just trolling us at this point. I know it. Like,
probably either who knows? Knowing Toriyama or knowing how he was, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Goku Black in the manga though for the most part. I thought it was honestly it flowed better than the anime because I thought the anime arc dragged on.
Yeah, the manga is very short and sweet. I mean, because we had we had the half a volume for Battle of Gods and like a volume and a half for Universe 6, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
So all told, the Goku Black arc was like maybe 2.5 volumes.
Yeah. And I will say, like, the manga adaptation really made it perfectly evident that one of those time travel back and forths was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, for sure. Like they definitely did it too many times in the anime version, and the manga hit the perfect sweet spot.
They also got rid of the whole time machine getting destroyed thing because that was unnecessary.
Yeah, they didn't even mention the Cell time machine.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of a bummer because that was one thing I did like in the anime was how they're like, oh yeah, we have this other time machine.
Also, we didn't get Trunks meeting present day Android 18 like mom Android 18, which was kind of disappointing because I love that scene in the anime because it's just so awkward.
Yeah, I love that scene too.
I get also we didn't get Trunks hanging out with Gohan
Yeah.
because the manga doesn't want to acknowledge Gohan exists at this point.
No, they're saving him for the next arc.
Yeah.
Which he does. He gets a fucking glow up in the next arc. That for sure. Actually, you know what? You know what I thought was really cool? I'll just tell you now because it's not that important. Gohan wears the purple gi to the tournament in the manga,
Oh,
as
does he?
opposed to the orange gi. So
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it does kind of kill the significance of it in superhero, but that's fine.
Well, I mean, it makes it more consistent in superhero.
True.
Because he also appears in the Moral arc as well, and he's also still wearing the purple gi, so it keeps it consistent. You know.
I will say though, like we talked about, like they cut a lot of stuff, but at the same time they also fleshed out the main characters of this arc. Because honestly, thinking about it, Goku and Vegeta are really background, secondary characters for most of this.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Trunks and Mai are the main characters of this arc. Then the Kais, oddly enough.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Kai, we didn't mention that Goku used Hakai in this arc.
Oh yeah, he did.
He used the Beerus destruction move.
Yeah.
Oh, also Zamasu was doing the Janemba thing where he was making the portals and punching through them.
Yeah, I saw. Oh yeah, because he grabs Mai at one point and like he used her as a meat shield.
Yeah, when Goku was using the destruction move, he used her as a meat shield to make him stop.
Yeah. It was like the one thing I was like they really like made Mai like seem like a very useful character here, and then it's like great, she's already damsel in distress.
Yeah. But they did a lot of fun things with like the different abilities and stuff in this arc, but they didn't hover on it too much. Like I said, it's a short and sweet arc. It's definitely worth a read. It goes quick.
No, it does. I finished that in like a day.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was just casually reading on like my work breaks, and I would finish a volume with at least a whole break to spare every time. So
oh yeah, well there's entire 2-page spreads in this all these volumes where there's no dialogue. It's just a picture.
yeah, I'm looking forward to covering the next few arcs, because starting with the next set whenever we get back to Dragon Ball Super, because as I said at the beginning, we will be cycling through different shows or different series.
Yeah,
but all the next arcs for Dragon Ball Super will be covering just one arc at a time. So
yeah, because they're full sized for the most part.
Yeah, I believe, because this one ended halfway through volume 5, correct?
Yes.
I believe Tournament of Power goes through either almost all of volume 9, or it ends towards the beginning of volume 10.
Okay.
So it's a good like 4 to 5 volumes.
All right. Well, I look forward to when we eventually get back to that. I think we'll leave what our next manga we're going to cover in this series is up in the air for now. So we'll discuss it off screen most likely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a cool, different thing. We've covered a lot of Dragon Ball. I mean, hell, it's our podcast logo at this point. So there's the car. The podcast is complete now.
Yep. Now we can end it.
Yeah.
You know, I like the joke how like at this point, like all of your podcasts are in disguise, because GNC is a nostalgia podcast that's disguised as like a gaming and collecting podcast. Then you got 3DO, which at this point is like a Sega podcast disguised as a 3DO podcast.
Yeah.
And then we're a pop culture we're a Dragon Ball podcast disguised as a pop culture podcast.
Well, I used to say years ago that GNC was just an anime podcast moonlighting as a gaming podcast. But yeah. But anyways, guys, once again, thanks for joining us on Geek Addicts. You can find Geek Addicts on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. You can also find us over at the Superpod Network. That's superpodnetwork.com. Over there, you can find all sorts of awesome shows like Superpod Saga, Super Ghost Radio, Retro Rehab, Tommy's Video Game Ride Along, Find Time, Gaming Together, Remember 64, Bar Silence, The Elder Trolls, Friday Night Gamecast, all the GNC shows, and I believe that's everybody. You can also find a whole bunch of video podcasts. We do an occasional group activities over on the YouTube channel, and you can find a whole bunch of blogs. And there's also the Super Game Club game challenges where we'll have a bunch of people play games and write reviews for them for blogging. And it's just a great place. A whole bunch of awesome creators over there. And with that, everybody, we'll see you all later.
Have a good one.